Blazing Hot 91, the Blazing Hot Morning Show is Wednesday. We always take a pause on Wednesday for health, healing, and Hampton Roads. Now we're going to address Hampton Roads by talking to the president of the Chesapeake NAACP this morning. Good morning, Helena Dodson. Welcome to Health, Healing, and Hampton Roads.
Thank you, and good morning to you.
Good morning as well. Just let's talk about your background real quick and being the president of the Chesapeake NAACP.
My background is I am a Tidewater native, born and raised and educated in the Hampton Roads area. I am a proud Spartan.
All right. Behold the green and gold.
And my background is in elementary education. I taught for about a year, I think it was. But in the meantime, when I was going through Norfolk State, I had a part-time job with, used to be Bell Atlantic, and it changed into Verizon. So I went on to Verizon with my educational background, excuse me, and did some little things there and became a director, a managing director for Hampton Roads area. Retired with 35 years.
All right.
So, and in between that time, I have always been community-based, meaning that even though I held a 40-hour plus job a week, I had the privilege of using God's skills to help others, and that's where I am today.
All right. Now, tell us about the Chesapeake NAACP.
Chesapeake NAACP was originated out of Bells Mills, and I don't know if people know about the Bells Mills area, but that's one of our historic areas.
Yes.
And we originated out of that in 1982. We were chartered, and we have been working for civil rights ever since then. We meet at different churches in Chesapeake. We have, right now, we're doing virtual, but our last church location, we have been meeting at Providence Church in Chesapeake, and we have enjoyed that tremendously. So that's where we are with Chesapeake. We have many, many committees that we are always looking for good help. I got to put that in. We're always looking for good help because we do have committees that we need to be addressing different things in the community.
All right, there you go. Now, what are some of the things that the Chesapeake office is pretty much addressing?
Right now, you know that everybody, everywhere, is focused on the election and the voting. Everybody, everywhere, is focusing on our school system. And everybody everywhere is talking about police brutality. So we are focused on those major things today.
All right, so what things have you done and to address those issues?
Okay, the first thing that we decided to do is sometimes we find ourselves out marching and sometimes we find ourselves out gathering. We wanted to go to the table with where decisions are made and talk to the people in charge. So we started off with a virtual meeting, and we're doing it in clusters. The first virtual meeting we had the Senator Spruill, Delegate Hayes, we had the mayor of Chesapeake, we had the chief of police, and we had the superintendent. We also had the city manager in Chesapeake on a virtual discussion. We had so many questions, we had to break it off and ask them to come individually. So we did have that with all of them gathered, and we have started now to do many virtual meetings. The first one was with the chief of police, because we wanted to talk to him about some of the issues that have been going on around the city and throughout the state and throughout the United States. And Chief Wright is our chief of police, and he gave us some background information. He talked to us about things that they're doing and how he holds his people accountable, and we went through that. The second virtual meeting that we had was with the superintendent of schools, Dr. Jared Cotton. And Dr. Cotton gave us information on how they were preparing to hopefully open the Chesapeake schools or do virtual training. And the next one that we do plan to have is with the city, with some of the issues that are going on. Chesapeake NAACP celebrated last year their 30 years of what we call the Fair Share Agreement that addresses economics and hiring in the city of Chesapeake. So last night I spoke to the city council to let them know that we are going to revisit on a quarterly basis the Fair Share Agreement, and that we hope that we can look at some of the figures that have come up and some of the questions that have come up with some of the results. Right now, the economic development person in Chesapeake is seriously looking for small businesses that are registered in Chesapeake. They just got, I think it was a $4.3 million grant to help the small businesses in Chesapeake, and he's having a hard time getting small businesses in Chesapeake that are registered to come and get this money to help them with their background things, and he's looking. So if there's anybody out there listening and you know of a small business in Chesapeake that needs some help financially, and this is money, grant money that you don't have to pay back, you need to call the economic department in the city of Chesapeake.
Okay, that's one more time, the Economic Development Office in Chesapeake. If you are a business that is in Chesapeake and having economic issues.
That's correct. I mean, things like, he was telling me this last night, things like supplies that you had to buy, things like sometimes your rent, they can help. I think each person gets up to about $10,000, and that's through the end of the year. That money has to be spent by the end of the year. So I would encourage anybody who has a small business to please check into that.
All right, got it. And do you know if that is specifically for brick and mortar, or is that any business, including some businesses that may be licensed in Chesapeake, that is actually online? Now,
I don't know in details with that, but I am sure that they will be able to talk with you about that, because we do have a lot that are listed when you go up on your SWAM directory, a lot that are listed that are not brick and mortar. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if that is correct or not, but I would advise you. In fact, I will give you his number. He would love to come on and talk about that, because I invited him to our radio station to do the same.
All right, gotcha. Now, let's talk about this real quick. Let's talk about the NAACP. Now, I know from talking to some of the presidents in the other areas that the NAACP, a lot of the different missions of the NAACP has been to be out and to be protesting, especially what is going on around America now with civil unrest. How is Chesapeake handling this type of situation?
What we are doing is trying to educate our people, because sometimes we read the newspaper, sometimes people tell us certain things that are going on. All of that information may not be the way it's told to them. So what we're trying to do is empower our people with good information that we're getting from our national office, and hopefully they can address the issues that come forth with them. That's the way we plan to do our working with the issues that are here in our city.
Okay, with the few moments we have left, we're talking with Helena Dodson, president of the Chesapeake NAACP. Any words you want to leave to the 757 in this time in which we're preparing to vote?
There are many things that have come up with voting. I am just praying each and every day that everybody will know by now, that it is a must that we get out and vote. And this year in Chesapeake, we have worked very hard in the city to request additional time for people to come out and vote. That November 3rd is just one day. And so now, as of Friday, in the city of Chesapeake, any resident of Chesapeake can go to the library and do your voting at the library. You can also continue to go to the registrar's office and do your voting. But the libraries are open Monday through Friday from 10 to 4. They will be open the last 2 Saturdays in October from 9 to 4. And we are hoping that people will get out and do that voting. Now, we are telling people, go at times that you know are not busy, like just before 4 o'clock is a very busy time. Lunchtime is a busy time. Try to get there when you know it's not a busy time. And I was told last night that just this weekend in the state of Virginia, we had about 37,000 people who voted early on the weekend. So when that poll opened and the libraries open for voting on Friday, Virginia has counted up 37,000 people who actually did the voting.
Wow. Yes.
That is interesting. I would caution people. I mean, we encourage the mail-in, fill your ballot out and send it in. I would caution people, if you are requesting an absentee ballot, and this year you don't have to have a reason, you can request that absentee ballot, that you get it in early. Don't wait until the last minute, because the city is looking at, the registrar's office is looking at, are you filling it out correctly? And if you're not, they have to send it back to you. So we are requesting that if you can, do it in person. And if you can, there are drop boxes that the city has put out. One I know is in front of the registrar's office at 411 Cedar Road, that you can drop off your ballots. And the state has even given return postage, so you don't have to worry about that stamp putting it on there. Everything right now has been done for us to have no excuse for voting. Mm-hmm. One thing that I know we talked about years ago was the ID situation. That now is not a requirement. You don't have to have a picture ID. You do have to have maybe a utility bill or your name on a bank statement or something with your current address too, but you do not have to have a picture ID. So things that we've asked for, things that we've worked to get, now we need to please do what we're supposed to do.
Okay, we got a few seconds left. Let's give a number as well as a website so people can get in contact with the Chesapeake NAACP.
We would ask that the information, if anybody needs any information, we have our unit number is unit 7049 at gmail.com. That's the quickest way. We have somebody monitoring that all the time. We do not have someone sitting at the phones to actually get an answer to things. But if you send us something at unit 7049 at gmail.com, we will get back to you.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Helena Dodson.
And Doug,
yes.
I just pulled up this notice on this business, and it says all businesses with 50 employees or fewer are eligible for up to $10,000 in relief. And let me just give you this number that people can call for the Chesapeake Small Business Recovery Grant. The number is 757-382-8040.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Helena, for coming on the show with Health Healing and Hampton Roads. Thank you so much for being a strong president of the NAACP in Chesapeake.
And thank you for having me.